feel like the only thing harder than making friends in London as an adult is making Christian friends as an adult in London, because I feel like so many people that grew up in faith have like friends that have been Christians with them since they were young. Like, I'm new to faith. I've only been a Christian for like 2 years, and I only know like 3 people that are Christians in my life, one of them being my boyfriend. And I've like tried to get plugged in at church. I've tried to like join like little like group chats and do these little things, and I just feel like I've never been able to fully find like my people and find a community and feel like I belonged somewhere. Like, even at church, like I just like the connect groups never got back to me, and I was like, oh, okay, like what's wrong with me? So I was thinking about this the other day, and I was kind of getting a bit sad, and I was like, you know what, screw it. I was like, why don't I just make my own little community? Because I'm like part of these little Facebook groups, but they're not for Christian girls. So I was like, you know what, why don't I make one for Christian girls? And I was like, no, that's silly. Like, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. But then I was like, who says, why can't I create it? So I've created a little Facebook group. I have no idea where it's going to go, what we're going to do, but I feel like we could like arrange like Bible studies, introduce ourselves, share knowledge, share our testimonies, like all of that stuff. And I feel like it could be such a great opportunity for people to just kind of like meet and mingle, and I don't know. So I've put the link in my bio, and if you want to join. And yeah, I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous. I don't know.
Networking is a lost art, and literally hearing, as someone who was born and raised in London, hearing someone share the challenges with finding friends in London, first and foremost, everybody knows that's a challenge, because since the late 90s, the whole of London has been an environment where many people just try to keep to themselves, unless you're purposefully networking or purposefully going out, connecting with people. And then secondarily, if you're a Christian attempting to find friends inside of London, that's going to be even more challenging, not because of the lack of Christians there, but more so because of the lost art of networking around there. So what I would say is we need to remember that community is built of people with a common unity. So what makes you a commoner in an environment is what's going to determine whether you can build a community with the people in that environment. So I am all for relationship building, networking, especially if you're someone who needs to fellowship with other believers as a brand new Christian or a fairly new Christian. I would encourage you to make sure you get connected. One of the key ways is, yes, keep pushing at your local church. If the connect group guys didn't get back to you, just go and speak to them again. But also look at other Christian events, Christian things going on in the local area where you can connect with other Christians who are interested in common things that can unite you. And one of the things that's super powerful is if you do that, you can actually be someone who connects with the kind of people that can have a lifelong relationship. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on that. But here's the truth. If you are someone who feels like you've just newly come to the faith, and because you've newly come to the faith, maybe that's the reason why you don't have those deep, lasting connections. The reality is there's lots of other people who have newly come to the faith. The kind of challenge, or more so the trap you don't want to fall into, is building relationships with only people that have newly come to the faith. And that's where, having a group and stuff like that, where you aren't necessarily, or if you don't feel like you are necessarily cemented in your faith, might be challenging. Because what happens is if you attract more people who are in a similar predicament as you are, then what's going to happen is if everyone in that group is brand new to the faith and trying to figure out how to make friends, how are you guys going to be led or stewarded towards having a deeper relationship in your faith? So this is something to maybe think about on your quest to build relationships. For all of us, if we're thinking to ourselves, you know what, I'm new to this thing. Like, I remember last year I was brand new to jiu-jitsu, and I was thinking to myself, well, I'm new to this thing. Like, how do I develop strong, lasting relationships? Well, it's commitment. It's actually commitment. It's resilience. It's the fact that you don't have any of the relationships that you currently have just because you showed up to something on one day and disappeared after that day. You actually have to build those relationships over time by consistency, by persistence, by going back again and again, by developing relationships and friendships with individuals as you start to see, oh, hold on a minute, I have this in common and that in common with this person and that person. And that's what builds those connections. That's what builds those relationships. So one of the key things when we're thinking about developing relationship, one of the key things when we're thinking about building out community is thinking about those two root words, the common unity. Like, what do we have in common, and what is it that brings us to be united? And it's when we think about those two concepts that allow us to put ourselves in the right place. I've often said, when I was a lot younger, speaking to younger men who are looking for partners to get married to, you know, if you find your wife to be in a club, don't be complaining. Don't complain if after you get married, she ends up in the club, because that's what you had in common when you first united. And this is one of the things we really have to start thinking about as we develop in age, as we develop in maturity, as we develop in our relationships. Like, what do you actually have in common with people? And even to the point that was made in the video about Christians who have lifelong Christian friends because they grew up in the faith together, even those relationships sometimes have to be questioned or second guessed or asked about. Like, is that really who I am? Am I still the person who that person sees me as? Or have I just become someone new? Am I developing? Am I metamorphosizing? Am I growing? You know, because when a lot of those things happen, relationships can often change. So I don't know if it's a London thing. I don't know if it's a UK thing. I don't know if it's a global thing, but finding people who are similar to yourself in your journey, whatever journey of life you're in, is always going to be something that is trying and challenging. And the real key to get around that is to network. And the only way you can network is by understanding what unites you with other people and what it is that you have in common with them, or what it is that you desire to have in common with them. And that should give you the impetus, that should give you the encouragement, that should give you the inspiration to start going into certain places, certain meetings, certain forums, certain rooms where the people inside of those rooms are more akin to the relationship that you desire to have. And that's how you build relationship. That's how you build a network. And one of the things that actually comes to mind in this regard is what's actually happening in the state of affairs around the world with dating culture and a whole bunch of other cultures that are basically being spotlighted in media and in social media specifically. And a lot of people are struggling to find significant others from what a lot of the social media landscape is showing, but maybe it's actually because of the exact same reason and the exact same thing that's being highlighted in this video. Maybe it's because some people are just way too busy. Maybe it's because some people aren't getting back to people. And sometimes maybe it's because the expectation is to have someone where you're at, rather than to be looking for someone further along than where you're at in order for them to be able to bring you up to where they're at. And these are a bunch of the things that I guess we all have to think about as we think about relationships, as we think about building our network, as we think about developing to our next levels in our life. Now, one of the things that's super powerful about this is I'm aware that there are, you know, roller discos that are run by Christian organizations. There are comedy shows that are run by Christian organizations. And if you ask me, how do I know this? Because I don't go to any of these kind of events. It's because of my wife. She's always keeping me up to date with these kind of things. But there are things out there in London specifically and across the whole of the UK where Christians are fellowshipping, where Christians are networking, where Christians are coming together. So don't be someone who feels left out. Don't be someone who feels like you can't find a network, because the network is out there if you're willing to network and find that network and connect with people. And don't also be someone who's so insular that you think to yourself that there aren't any groups in the area that you're at. Because the reality is, it's funny, as I'm saying this, it's reminding me of the prophet Elijah, who literally says to God, hey, God, I'm the only one left. I'm the only one left, right? And God says to Elijah, he says, no, I have 1,000 that have not bowed their knee. They've not bowed their heart to this idol worshiping God, Baal. So that's a reminder constantly for all of us as believers that when we think that we're all alone, we're most likely, in most cases, not alone. There's usually a remnant, an audience of people that are waiting for us to connect with them, just like we are desiring to connect with them. So if this is valuable, let me know with the comments below. Feel free to hit the like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your take on what literally has been your experience as a believer, whether you've been in the faith for a while, whether you're new to the faith, but in terms of developing and building community, I'm super keen to hear how your journey has been. And side by side with that, remember, small keys open big doors, and I'll see you on the next video. Let's go.
Small keys open big doors.